Is it true that you need to do 300 plus cold approaches to get laid once? Simple answer is no. No, 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 no. Not at all. No, no. This reminds me of I when I went day gaming in Nottingham, my home city, a couple of years ago, and I went out with a guy who I remember him saying something like, "Oh, once you get to 500 approaches, that's when it starts getting easy. That's when you start getting results." What 500 approaches looks like for one person is going to be completely different to what 500 approaches looks like for another person because of so many things. I mean, most importantly, who you are and who you're approaching. And like that matters so much, you know? I could be a guy of some type, some makeup of characteristics that is just incredibly appealing to a girl who I approach for the first time. And I might have never done an approach before, and I might be a really insecure sort of guy. And she's really eager to give me her number. She sets up the date and she pushes for sex. And I could be another guy who's typically more attractive, and I could have dozens of cold approaches, and I just don't meet someone with whom I vibe, and I'm really sort of anxious and scared, or I come across as aloof, and or women are really intimidated by me because of the way I'm holding myself and the way I'm speaking to them, and I'm not very good at flirting, or a number of reasons. So no, like it's a numbers game to an extent, insofar as you've got a greater chance of getting a lay the more you approach. But there are so many better ways to get laid or have sex or whatever you want to call it. Cold approach is one of the most difficult ways to meet women. It's in effect or objectively or yeah, looking at it, it's just like the easiest way to meet women because you just see a woman and you go say hi. It could be any woman, but it's also the most difficult because it brings up so much insecurity in oneself and fear. Um, if you want to get laid, rather than approaching hundreds of people, I recommend joining some social groups, arranging with your work colleagues a night out, and seeing if they bring some of their friends, and maybe female, some females, some women who come out, friends of your colleagues whom you can talk to and chat with and practice flirting with. Cold approach is really hard, and it's really difficult, and it's you're not setting yourself up for failure, but you're setting yourself up for a pretty hard time, and it's not a great way to build confidence with women, um, because you're going to get rejected a lot, and any successes you do get might be pretty short lived, and you're sort of starting on the back foot generally. It's quite intimidating. It's not a great way for a woman to feel safe, and safety and comfort is something that women want to be feeling, at least to a pretty good extent, so they can feel okay being vulnerable, opening themselves physically up to you. So don't focus on cold approaching. Still cold approach, sure, if it doesn't sort of rupture or damage your self esteem, and if it's something that you feel is valuable to your life, because I can definitely see the value behind cold approaching. It's something that I would like to reintegrate into my life sometime in the future. But it's definitely not fundamental to meeting women. Look for workshops in your city. Try looking for dance classes, bouldering, some other type of sports which is like mixed gender. Um, Maybe just try getting good at something, a skill that you can showcase more publicly, playing an instrument, for example, doing art, go to a still life evening, you know. If you're in a town or a big town or a city, there are quite a lot of ways to meet women. And because you're going there for a reason other than to meet women, you've got a reason to make conversation with people. And it's more likely that something organic will happen. And once you have a couple of organic experiences, Cold approaching will be easier because you'll have experienced yourself as attractive to women, and you'll experience yourself as being interesting and as a sexual being. Um, and therefore, it'll probably be less intimidating approaching a woman on the street, and your chances of success are likely to increase. So please don't focus on some sort of arbitrary number, such as 300. Instead, focus more on yourself and meeting women in more sort of appropriate contexts. And by appropriate, I mean which are more conducive to your happiness, because you're going to be doing something that you enjoy, and meeting women there is just a bonus. Hopefully, that answers a question and some of the confusion around cold approach. And best of luck meeting women.